You signed the contract, you put on the uniform. But sometimes, military service triggers a profound internal conflict, and participating in war stops making sense. If your beliefs now prevent you from bearing arms, you have a legal pathway out. Today, we are going to walk through the exact steps to build a complete Conscientious Objector, or CO, application packet, and how to navigate the military's mandatory evaluation process. To qualify, you must meet a strict legal standard. The military requires proof of crystallization. This means your beliefs must have formed, changed, or matured specifically after entering the armed forces, and those beliefs must oppose real war in any form. Your objection needs to be rooted in deep religious training or an equally strong moral or ethical framework. The military will not accept claims based solely on political, sociological, or philosophical views. You also cannot be a selective objector. If you believe in just war theory, or you only oppose a specific deployment or a specific conflict, you do not qualify under current U.S. law. You must be opposed to all war at this point in time. Securing CO status depends on a rigorous legal argument. To succeed, you must provide documented evidence of a permanent shift in your values that occurred after you enlisted. Step 1 is identifying exactly what status you are applying for. The military divides conscientious objection into two distinct classifications. Class 1O is for service members whose conscience forbids any form of military service. Approval here results in a full discharge. Class 1AO is for those who cannot bear arms or participate as combatants, but whose convictions allow them to serve in unarmed, non-combatant roles, like logistics or medical support. Once you choose your path, you have to prove your case. The core of your application packet consists of mandatory essays designed to provide the clear and convincing evidence the military requires. You will answer 3 main questions. Question 1 covers the nature of belief. You need to clearly describe the exact moral or religious convictions that require you to seek separation or reassignment. Question 2 covers the development of conviction. You will explain exactly how and when your beliefs changed. You need to identify the specific factors, experiences, or training that caused your objection to crystallize after you joined. Question 3 addresses the consistency of life. The military wants to see how your daily lifestyle reflects these new beliefs and what specific decisions you make daily to support them. You do not have to prove this alone. You should gather letters of support from people who know you well, clergy, family members, or peers, who can testify to your sincerity and verify the timeline of your changing beliefs. When writing your essays, avoid broad critiques of foreign policy. Abstract political arguments will get your application denied. Keep every sentence anchored to your personal moral framework. Your written application must present a coherent, specific timeline of your internal change, rooted in your own personal history. With your essays drafted and your letters of support collected, you move into the administrative filing phase. Your personal documents must be attached to the official paperwork required by your specific branch of service. For example, the Marine Corps uses a summary sheet guided by Marine Corps Order 1306.16F to formally document and initiate your claim. Other branches have similar specific forms. Pay close attention to the Statement of Understanding on these forms. Signing this document legally binds you to the rules of the investigation process and reinforces your accountability while your claim is pending. If you are facing imminent deployment, you should write a short letter of intent to your command immediately. This officially starts the record-keeping process and can give your command time to adjust your duties. But here is a critical warning. Filing an application does not pause your military obligations. You must continue to obey all lawful orders and perform your assigned duties while your packet is processed. By regulation, commands will make every reasonable effort to assign you to duties that conflict as little as possible with your stated beliefs. However, you remain fully subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Filing a CO claim demands absolute administrative discipline. Your moral convictions do not grant you a temporary exemption from military law. Submitting your packet triggers the evaluation phase. The military will thoroughly test your claim through 3 mandatory interviews. First is a psychiatric evaluation. A mental health specialist will interview you to confirm that your application is truly based on conscience and not the results of PTSD or another mental health condition. Next, you will sit down with a military chaplain. Even if your objection is purely ethical and non-religious, the chaplain's job is to evaluate the basis of your claim and make an official determination about your sincerity. Finally, you will attend a hearing with an investigating officer, or IO, typically a captain or higher. The IO reviews your entire written record, the psychiatrist clearance, and the chaplain's report, and then cross-examines you on your beliefs. Following this hearing, the IO writes a comprehensive report. They will synthesize all the evidence and make an official recommendation to either approve or deny your application, based on the clear and convincing standard. Treat this gauntlet as a complete audit of your life. Any inconsistencies between what you wrote in your essays and how you answer their questions can be used as grounds for denial. Once the investigating officer finishes their report, you have to write to read it. More importantly, you have a strict 7-day window to submit a written rebuttal. Do not skip this step. The rebuttal is your final opportunity to correct any factual errors, clarify misunderstandings, or challenge the IO's recommendation before the packet leaves your local command. From there, your complete file travels up the chain of command. Every officer in that chain will add their own recommendation until it reaches headquarters, where a review board makes the final binding decision. If you applied for Class 1O and the board approves your claim, you will be discharged for the convenience of the government. This is normally characterized as an honorable discharge, depending on your prior service record. If you applied for Class 1AO and are approved, you will be retained in the military, but reassigned to an appropriate non-combatant military occupational specialty. Because this process is so highly scrutinized, you should not go through it alone. Before you submit any paperwork to your command, call the GI Rights Hotline at 1-877-447-4487 to talk over your situation with a trained civilian counselor. Securing conscientious objector status is a legal marathon. It requires profound moral conviction and the procedural precision to prove it.